I wanted to create an opportunity where people could come and share their stories. And when we open up our hearts, we allow others to help carry our loads, while we in return help carry theirs. And the more we share our stories, the braver and the stronger we become. Hi, I'm Delisha Bonner, your host of Extraordinary People I Know. Today I'm going to talk to Delisha Stanley. She is a real-life hidden figure. She's a chemist at Raytheon Systems, and she is one of the very few African-American women in management in the aerospace industry. Hi, Delisha. I'm so glad you came to talk to us today.
Me too.
Okay, so I'm going to jump right into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you born? Where'd you go to school?
So I'm actually born right here in Southern California. I lived in Inglewood, not too far from where we're at now, my whole life. And I went to school locally, public school in East LA. So Bravo Medical Magnet, that's where I went to high school at.
Okay, and then you attended college or undergraduate at
UC Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Yeah. So right up the coast, it's still in California. But yeah, I got my degree in chemistry at Santa Barbara.
Okay, tell us a little bit about what life was like in Santa Barbara in the chemistry field. Were there people who looked like you? Tell me what your support system was.
Okay. Yeah, Santa Barbara it's not a lot of African-American people like just in the city, and definitely not at the school. So when you take that down the next level, definitely not in a lot of the engineering and science classes. Mm-hmm. When I came in, there was 2% Black people. Wow. Yeah, and so like when you know the percentage, then you know that we know it's a small community. So within that, we had a great community that was extremely supportive. So no African Americans, really, especially in the undergraduate classes, but that was my support network, being with the Black students, just all of us kind of going through whatever the majors, were. But in the actual sciences, not too many of us at all.
Okay. Did you have any mentors? Was there anybody that you admired that kind of led you into this field?
So actually my high school teacher is the one that really, turned me on to chemistry, got me very interested in it. And so by the time I'm going to college, it's like, I really like this, but I have no idea, what I'm going to do with it. Mm-hmm. And so I was very fortunate my sophomore year of college to get connected with an African-American woman, also from the Los Angeles area, that had a degree in chemistry. And so she just mentored me, and it was literally just us talking, her helping me understand what it would, what it could look like after I graduated. And from the dynamic that we built, she actually offered me an internship at Raytheon, and I've literally been there, ever since. So wow. 18 years, about 18 years now. Yep, literally the rest is history.
Okay, so you get to Raytheon, you said about 18 years ago?
Yeah. And
what did it look like? What was your environment then, and how has it changed today?
It's very, white male dominated, and it's always been like that. And then when you start to break down, no, there's women here, there's Latinos, there's African Americans, they're not in engineering. Mm-hmm. And at that time, they definitely were not, in management. So that's what it looked like. And even within that, that's when you can learn something from anybody all the time. But start to navigate in a way of people not accepting you, not thinking that you know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Did you just get this job for a
quota?
Yeah, right. Just we checked the box. Okay,
right.
Good. And that was kind of the environment. Are they directing that energy towards me? There probably were people that were, mm-hmm. especially then. And to be able to see how it's progressed allows me to really see how it was, how it was then. So with that, you build communities around the types of things that you end up getting interested in that aren't just, being with just the Black people or just this, which is the experience I was coming out of high school. High school and actually college, mm-hmm. people that looked like me made me feel comfortable. And now I'm in this place where there's not a lot of people that look like me, and I have to find a way to be able to be more comfortable and just kind of keep working through. So that's where my mentor came in, and she's been invaluable in helping me navigate this environment that very foreign, something that I had never experienced, especially growing up in South Central LA. Schools were Black, principals were Black, teachers were Black, and totally different. So
yeah. So because you had that dynamic with your mentor and she was able to help you, make the adjustment, do you feel that's why you give back to the community and why you're involved in the recruitment process?
Oh, most definitely. That I couldn't imagine where I would be if I hadn't seen somebody that looked like me. And I might have had somebody come to the school and they could have been an astronaut or this, but being able to have somebody that looked like me from my area, spoke the same language, really was, like I said, it was eye-opening. Like, she completely opened my eyes just to what the possibilities were. Like, she didn't steer me into anything specific. It was more, let me just show you what's possible.
Right. And
that is definitely why, like, recruiting, going and talking at middle schools, high schools, because if I'm not going to help show them, show people what's possible, they may, they may never know. I've gone to schools and I've said, not everybody in here is going to be a doctor, and not everybody in here is going to be a chemist, but if I'm at least, what it is now. It's opening your eyes to even what the possibilities of it could be. And I said, you can be a medical related artist. You can leverage your talents in a way that you may not have thought of because you didn't even know something, you didn't have anybody to even show you. And so
you're exposing them to things that they just had no clue about.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, you have to meet the kids where they're at. People, like I said, not everybody is going to be inclined for that, but are they at least exposed to not think that, I can only do this. I met this chemist and I am totally not interested in chemistry, but I remember her mentioning something about mechanical engineering or cars or planes or something that this is not all that's possible. There's this other possibilities of what I can kind of look at and go and do. So, like, literally, like I said, my mind just kind of went there because that I have so much passion, around that recruiting, helping, trying to do what she did for me. What can you do with that degree? How can you look at leveraging on it in a way that you maybe just didn't before? So I really have a lot of passion around that. Like I said, if she didn't, I cannot imagine where my life would be right now.
Yeah. Okay, so being one of the few African-American women in this field, what challenges have you faced and how did you overcome them?
I would say the most is trying to be as authentic as possible, but then navigating, kind of politically in the environment that I'm in. I want to be passionate, but I don't want to come across as, those terms, that they use. The labels, right. And that's just one kind of thing that I'm, be capable, come to the table, find your voice, all of that it's just like a constant, kind of thing. And you don't want to own that it's like, oh, I have to be 110% or I have to do that, but
you kind of do.
Yeah, you know that you're good enough, but you know that you're gonna have to go ahead and give them 110% for them to at least, kind of see you on that level, and that's hard. Who wants to do that like every single day? But you do.
Yeah. How about the movie Hidden Figures?
Love the movie. It's so great.
How did that resonate with you? For me, having someone else to take credit for my work, that would be discouraging. That would be disheartening. Has that ever happened to you? And what did you do to combat that?
So I have had that happen, and it's progress, because even in that movie, I'm pretty sure that even before she got to NASA, before she got that job, somebody else took credit for what she did, you know? And sometimes it's small, you're in a study group and you're like, well, I think it's X equals this, and somebody's not paying attention to you. And then, oh, miraculously, somebody else said it. It's like, I said that. And so for where she was at in that movie, that's where I went. I was like, she has learned like how to navigate that little X equals in a little study group all the way through everything that she's already had to deal with being a Black woman, doing something that people weren't expected, being, you know, segregated buildings and not being thought of being on the level. She had done that like multiple times already. And so at the point that she's like, you know, like I have to really, really say something. And that is a challenge, you know, because you want to own your work. You are confident. You're confident in what you did, but how am I going to say this? And so like that part just resonated with me because the frustration it's real, you know, it's really, really real. And sometimes you get to that point and you just want to make, you know, you hope you came across, you know, all right. So yes, I have literally, you know, had that happen. And in my progression, it's, you know, knowing that I said something and then beating myself up because I wasn't, you know, direct enough to then maybe I might have been a little too direct and just keep kind of navigating that. So
trying to find that balance.
Yeah.
Because, you know, for men, that's rewarded.
Right.
You know, when they're vocal and when they're stern and assertive. And then for women, there's this, if she's passionate, she's emotional. Right. Or she's the B word. Or,
right.
You know.
All the labels, like you said.
Yep. So finding that balance, yeah.
And it's hard because it's like it's me on myself, you know, saying, was I to this? And nobody's probably thinking that, you know, I'm harsher than that. And that's part of it too, you know, continuing to own your voice as you keep finding your voice. And then even with that, evolving your voice. Because how I responded as a 19-year-old that had not been in the industry for a while is not the same basis that I'm coming from as I've been here this many years and I've done this and I've done that. And I know these things in a different sort of way. I've navigated myself. I've learned this company. I've learned that. So I think it's always going to keep, you know, it's going to keep always going. You're never going to have like the one way of dealing with that. And this industry is no different than anybody else's. Yeah, I think everybody's going to have to work through or has had to work through that in some way. Okay,
so you mentioned you entered Raytheon at 19, and you have worked your way all the way up through the steps, and you're in management.
Yes.
What do you attribute that to? And what do you think has been your greatest motivation to get you there? And where do you want to go from here?
I think the biggest thing is I actually do like what I do. And being able to go from, you know, an intern to where I'm at now, like when I started there, I worked in the lab, like the whole 9, lab coat and mixing chemicals and everything. And I loved it because I loved chemistry, but I was able to keep progressing like what my level of impact was. And that is what kind of keeps me going, that I've been able to progress from, you know, a chemist in a lab doing routine testing to, like I said, being a manager now and having impact, and being at a company this long, seeing how I'm part of like this positive progress of where it's going. Like when you said before, you know, what the company looked like before and like where it's at, it's like, I think I had a little bit to do with that, and I was kind of a little bit involved in that, and this other thing that's coming up, like, ooh, you know, I can do something with that too. That is a very good, encouraging motivator, you know, for me. And like I said, with this overarching umbrella that I like science, you know, so I'm with this journey that the company is on, and myself personally, you know, with them. They're encouraging me to keep growing, keep developing, keep seeing within myself, like what else can you do? So when I came in, I wouldn't have thought of myself as like, oh yeah, I'm going to be a manager. Not that I doubted myself. It's not on my radar. But they put it on the radar and they're just like, no.
You can do
You
it.
can do it. I can, actually. You're right. And then just keep pushing through it, you know.
So proud of you. Such an inspiration. Okay, so what would you tell your younger self, or what would you tell the young woman entering this field today?
We'd have to have like a long dinner.
Over a glass of wine.
Yes, because it's very multifaceted because there's so many aspects, you know, to it. There's, you know, how do you progress in the professional part, you know, balance the personal part. I think overall, I would say keep focus in your but balance, or maybe I should say it the other way around. Keep balance in your focus, and what is it that you really, you know, want to do? Be focused on it, but then at the same time, you know, have some balance in how you're approaching that. Look at it in a different, you know, sort of way. I think the times when I've been too like way focused, it didn't, you know, work out. And at the times when I like take a step back and do that, it's just been like really good. Like I said, because it's broad, and for me, I can use that in any sort of way. In the professional sense, focus on what I'm focusing on, but then like take a step back. Like I will give you this week, you guys will end up getting 50 hours out of me. Like I know today I'm going to have to work really hard and I'm really focused. But the balance comes in is like, I can't do that every day. You know, I have to go and do something with it. And I do know that now, that if I was giving you, you know, 50 hours like every single week for months and months and months, that's not me. I have to be able to balance it out. And in that sense, that's what I would say. Focus, but balance. Be, you know, so that you can kind of zone in on what your truer self is, you know.
How about, do you think that you had to sacrifice anything to get to where you are? Did you have to sacrifice your friends, your family, your social life to get to the status where you are today?
So I wouldn't say sacrifice. Maybe that's where the, you know, focus and balance kind of come in, that you have to work hard. So did you sacrifice like not going to that party or, you know, that social event? Yeah, but that's the focus. Like that's the thing that, you know, needs to get done, and you're doing it because of that. So yeah, sacrifice that's a hard one. I mean, I've always been a hard worker. You know, there's probably plenty of things that I missed out on because I was at school or working. But I just, you know, it's like, that's what had to happen.
So do you think it wasn't a sacrifice because you enjoyed doing it? It was something that, you know, that fulfilled you. Yeah,
I think that when I hear sacrifice, I look at it from the standpoint of like regret. You know, do I regret not doing this, or, you know, should have done this. If I would have done that, then, or I gave up for, and I don't see it in that way. Were there things that I could have done that would have made, you know, this easier or better? But, you know, yeah, it's like we all should have invested in Apple back then. But, you know, you can't look at it that sort of, you know, in that sort of way. Right. So, yeah, if I would have had a different major, I might have been super, you know, easier in college. I might have been at more social stuff.
More parties.
But yeah, that wasn't, I would have seen it like in that standpoint. Like I had to give up so much, you know, to kind of get here.
That's good. I think that's when you really know that's where you're supposed to be. You know, you're not giving up anything, and it's flowing, and you're enjoying it, and you're enjoying your journey. I'm so glad that you came to talk to us today. So proud of all of your accomplishments.
Thank you so much.
Just the fact that you're giving back, you know, you're paying it forward. Your mentor was able to assist you and get you to where you are today, and you're giving it back in the community. And that is commendable.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. I hope Delisha's story was inspirational to you, and be sure to tune in next week for more extraordinary people I know.